So you have to have a market value for whatever the bank is using as security. If you couldn't tell what the value of the package was, then those pieces of paper that was your percentage of that package had no definable value. So you had to carry it on your books as a banker at zero. Now your bankers here will tell you that they loan money by saying, we've got this amount of capital and deposits in our bank, and the government will, the regulators will let you, I believe it's $10 for every dollar you got secure capital or in deposits. So those zeros, which used to be billions of dollars on the books, meant billions of dollars of credit all of a sudden couldn't go into the market. And it really was not your community bankers. In fact, most everybody in this room is a community banker, and the community bankers weren't playing this game, most of them. There's a few of them that were out on the periphery of the big banks that did. Most of our community bankers weren't playing in this. They weren't playing in this league. It's really not their issue. But the mega banks were playing in this in a big way. And basically, when the mega banks were playing at this level, and the investment banks were playing at this level, then all of a sudden you didn't know what the value of the underlying capital was, so you couldn't loan money. And more importantly, you couldn't even loan money to fellow banks. Because banks swap money back and forth all the time, constantly. They're moving money on paper with electronics. But so a bank may borrow $100 million from the bank next door for a 4-day period, or just overnight, or for 6 hours. And then they pay them back and loan some over to this bunch over here. And they'll maybe be working between banks. Just like car dealers may, they may not have the car you want on their car lot, but they got a system, almost like banks, that'll find that car for you real quick, electronically. And they'll have it there for you when you want it. That's the way the banks move their finances. Perfectly legitimate thing to do. The minute these mega banks said, well, because we don't know what our securities are, we're not going to loan you money. Then you couldn't, a bank that needed to extend their credit couldn't borrow money to extend their credit. And that's where we are. That's what's happened to us. Which is not the same thing as happened to us in the Great Depression. And I want to tell you something. I'm damn tired of hearing people saying we're standing on the edge of a precipice for the Great Depression, okay? First off, we shouldn't be thinking that way. Okay, bottom line, don't think that way. Times are rough, but you know what? We're from Texas. We're used to times being rough. 3 days ago, it hadn't rained for 6 months. Okay? So let's realize who we are in this state, at least in this state. And let's realize that we will do just fine. Judge Gass was just telling me about 200 jobs we created in Gerald. We are not doing crazy things in our part of the world. But the rest of the world has done some crazy things, and we've got to get out of it. Now, the solution seems to be that by the majority party has decided the solution is to spend money. And we've done a hell of a job of that. We spent, we're, I think, at $2 trillion, or close to $2 trillion. We spent $1 trillion in no time, and the way we really did it, we loaned $350 billion to, which nobody seems to remember, but me. But we loaned $350 billion in August to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And said we'd never take them over, they could take care of their own business. Second week in September, we took them over. Then we created our bailout package, which is $700+ billion with a B. Add those two together, that's $1 trillion. Okay? To know what $1 trillion is, you've never thought about $1 trillion. If we started giving away or spending $1 million the day that Jesus Christ was born, we wouldn't have spent, and did it every day since Jesus was born, we wouldn't yet have spent $1 trillion. $1 million a day since Jesus was born, and we still wouldn't reach $1 trillion. It's a lot of money. $1 million stacks up right here at 4 inches high. $1,000 bill stacked 4 inches high is $1 million. $1 trillion, that stack is 63+ miles high. Okay, and we spent $1 trillion before the election. Okay, we've spent another $1 trillion since the election. And there are those who think we will spend another $1 trillion into projects that are at least being proposed on the books. So, from that standpoint, and I'm going to tell you, some of you, I have people who don't like this, but that's too bad. You sent me to Washington, and $1 trillion is more than I'm going to spend. And I haven't voted for a single one of these things.